Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the SIM Open House and welcome to the program briefings for the Computer Science program. So I'm delighted that today, with me here today is Dr. Matthew E. King. Let me just share slide for a minute. Right, yep. So with me here today is Dr. Matthew E. King. He's the program director for computer science at Goldsmiths, University of London. So for this program, the degree is awarded by University of London, academic direction by Goldsmiths. So for today, let me share about the various partners involved in making the computer science program work. Now, firstly, University of London. For University of London, it is a federal university with 17 colleges. It is 185 years old this year. And for this program, for the University of London, basically what happens is that it will manage all the students' registration, administrative things about the examination registration, results release, and graduation. So the administrative aspect of the University of London program is managed by University of London. Goldsmiths, what do? They provide academic direction. So the syllabus, the content, getting materials ready for students, this would be the role of Goldsmiths. What about SIM? At SIM, pre-COVID time, students will be in campus. Right now, we are slowly reopening our campus. So at SIM, we provide lecturers to support students in their academic studies. And on top of that, we also have clubs and CCAs. We believe in a holistic education for students. So we have all these clubs and activities for students. We also have workshops, talks that are organized for students. So now, some of you might ask, why do I study the UOL programs at SIM? Well, I've got some pointers here for you. Firstly, when you sign up for University of London program, you are in the same league as some of the other students that study with University of London. And especially, we work with prestigious universities. At SIM, we partner LSE, UCL, and Goldsmiths. Right? And for Goldsmiths, for this particular program, basically for the computing programs, we have collaborated with University of London, Goldsmiths, Department of Computing for more than 28 years. Right? So we do have the experience running UOL computer programs at SIM. In fact, if you're not already aware, SIM has the largest cohort of students on the UOL programs. In fact, the number is 5,500. Now, you might wonder, after taking this program, what's your prospects? What are your career opportunities? We are glad to say at this current climate, computer science is hot. The employers are looking for you, okay, fresh grads as well. So in fact, you could see from the data here, more than 90% of our students secured a job within 6 months of completing their studies. So also at SIM, there's rich experience for you, vibrant student life, academic support for our students. I'm proud to say that, for the 2020 exams, our students broke record again. We have 304 first-class honors students. This is a record-breaking number. And then you could see that we have a whole string of accolades where students who are on the chess of foundation program, they get distinctions. Not only that, our students topped the world in the exams that they took last year. 165 of them topped the world. And we have students, 80 of them, who were commended for their good work in the exams, and not forgetting 48 of them who were given awards for academic achievement. And these students, they are so lucky, they received £250 from University of London. And for the 304 first class honors figure, in fact, 46% of our CIS students form the 304 first class honors. So quite a lot of students, You know, imagine, let's say in a class of 10, nearly half the class got first class honors for the computing programs. So right now, I would like to invite Dr. Matthew E. King to talk about the University of London programs, in particular computer science program. Dr. Matthew?
Okay, hello there. Hope you can hear me okay. I'm going to run a few slides here and give you some information about the program. So let me just enable my screen share. Okay, hopefully you can see my slides now. If someone can confirm that's all working.
Yes,
great.
you can see it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll start out by saying this degree has been developed as a partnership between University of London, Goldsmiths and Coursera. And it's fantastic to see that our long-standing relationship with SIM is developing, and that you're now going to be able to take our new degree with SIM. And so the degree was launched in 2019, and it's been a really exciting time developing the degree contents, and it's a very large project for all of us over here developing this degree. And I'll just say a little bit about the partners. So yes, University of London, a very long established provider of distance learning and online degrees and through teaching centres, especially SIM, as you see, with such fantastic numbers of students achieving such fantastic results. And Goldsmiths, which is where I'm a member of faculty. So all of the courses are developed by members of faculty at Goldsmiths, and we have I think a sort of unique way of teaching computer science, which I feel is both helps you get a much deeper understanding of the subject, but also to find out why it's an exciting subject, because computer science could be a very plain subject if taught in that way, but we try and add some color to that and make it as exciting as possible. And not only that, because it's a new degree, we tried to teach a lot of the very new technologies. And what I'm going to want to do in my slides is I just want to show you some of the highlights of some of the content that we have, just to give you an insight. So first of all, here's a nice shot of some happy people. All of these people are involved in teaching on the University of London BSc Computer Science program. So these are all members of faculty at Goldsmiths and are established researchers in their own rights, as well as experienced teachers. And so together we've all been working very hard to develop this degree. And I guess the important thing to know about the degree is that it's delivered through the Coursera platform, most of the content, and then supported locally by the fantastic teaching and lecturing team and administrative team, I should say as well, at SIM. And the Coursera platform, if you haven't used it yet, is a state-of-the-art learning environment. So Coursera are based in Silicon Valley. They're next door to the headquarters of Mozilla. So we've been to visit them a few times. And yes, we end up going for dinner with the folks from Google and things like that. So they're very connected with that sort of beating heart of high tech over there in California. And the purpose of the Coursera, the sort of company, as it were, is to develop this fantastic learning platform and to make it as engaging and enjoyable to use as possible. So it's a fantastic experience using the platform. So if you're used to things like maybe Moodle or Blackboard, it's a completely new platform which has been developed, especially with a lot of characteristics for teaching computer science in particular. And so, for example, on the platform, we're able to embed interactive learning games. We have a browser-based programming environment, so you can do a lot of your work directly in the web browser. And also, the course includes a lot of video lectures by our lecturers. So typically, each course contains at least 10 hours of video lecturing, which has been produced. And I'll show you some sort of highlights of some of the screenshots of that shortly. And so, yeah, just to say that the course has been running since April 2019, and we're really we're growing, so we're becoming quite a large community of students on the BSc Computer Science degree. So you'll be joining a vibrant community of other people who are studying computer science, and we're from all over the world. And you know, there's 127 countries last time I looked. So yeah, really, it's a fantastic community of students, which is really, I think, a unique feature of the degree, which you might not always realize when you're looking at the information on the web page. You know, so that's something. And there's a vibrant community within the degree. On if you've used the Slack platform, there's a whole special workspace that only degree students are allowed onto, and all kinds of things are happening on there. People are helping each other, just general chat. You know, also there's lots of quite experienced developers on the degree who have set up support groups, and there's all kinds of interesting stuff happening on the community side of the degree as well, which you'll be gaining access to. These are the program level learning objectives. That's a really, I don't normally like slides with lots of text on, but I've put that there, and just to give you the general idea that the degree is benchmarked against the UK Higher Education Authority's computer science degree benchmarks. So when we were developing the degree, it was very important for us to make sure that the content of the degree was very aligned with what is the expectation of a computer science degree in the UK HE system. So, you know, the degree has been fully sort of quality verified through a whole sequence of academic boards, and where external experts in computer science have examined the contents of the degree. And that's an ongoing process. So all of the examinations and assessments are continually evaluated internally and externally. And so, yeah, the degree content and the way it's assessed is very closely aligned with that standardized benchmark in the UK. Now, I'll just say to the other people who are chairing this, if you can let me know how long I have left, it would be great, because I want to know how long I should talk for, because I think I spoke a bit too long at the beginning there.
Oh, I think you have about 20 minutes, 25. You're fine.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, so thank you for that. So here's an overview of the degree. So you can see that we've got a load of boxes on the screen there, and they're organized into 3 layers. And I'm imagining most people are going to be entering on the standard admissions route, where you basically, and studying, most people probably at SM will be studying full time, I would imagine. And so that means typically in a 3-year time span, you would do 1 layer per year. Okay, so what are these layers? Well, each of the boxes represents a course in the program. So you can see when you enter the first layer in your first year, you'll do 8 courses. Each is a 15 credit. So that will take you a year. So a course normally takes place over 20 weeks. So you'll be doing 4 courses at a time. So you do first 4 courses, then the next 4 courses, and then you move on to layer 5, where you'll do the next 8 courses in 2 blocks. And then finally you hit level 6 at the bottom there, and you can see there's a larger box there, and that's your final project. And the final project is where you get deeper into a piece of work and work kind of independently to develop a more significant software system. The other boxes on that final layer are options, and I'm going to get into some of those in a minute. So let's just look at the names of some of the courses. So these are the level 4 courses. And so we have 2 programming courses, and the programming language, because everybody always asks me, which languages do we learn? Well, I'm going to talk about those as we go. So the programming language that we teach is JavaScript in the first year. And that's our same teaching language we use on campus as well. And the reason we use JavaScript is because it's really fantastic, because it runs in the web browser. So it's very easy to get your programs up and running. And also we use an interactive library which allows you to do 2D graphics and things like platform games and things like that in which is called P5, which, if you've ever heard of processing, is the new generation of processing. And yeah, so it makes it very easy to get graphics onto the screen and to make fun interactive programs. And so those are the 2 programming modules. And we also have a web development module where we look at the client-side web languages such as HTML and CSS, and some template libraries. And then in How Computers Work, we cover a wide range of topics to give you a sort of baseline knowledge of a range of computer systems. And then we have 2 mathematics modules and some more formal computing modules. So we cover things like formal computing in fundamentals, and in algorithms we look at, get you started thinking about different types of algorithms for sorting and that kind of thing. This is level 5. Now I'm going to come back to this. I want to show you some pictures at this point. So yeah, just to sort of review some of those modules in the first layer there. This is the Intro to Programming module. So this is led by Simon Catan, and he's a really enthusiastic educator. And actually, as I say, we developed an interactive game called Sleuth, where you actually have to solve a bunch of crime detective type puzzles by writing code. And all of that runs inside the Coursera platform. So it's a highly engaging, interactive kind of experience. Intro to Programming 2, that's the second part of the course, but that's in your second session normally. And again, that's Simon and Edward. But what they do is they build out bigger projects. So you learn how, okay, not just little bits of syntax, but how to fit your program code into a larger context and build some bigger things. So it's quite interesting. Lots of worked examples there, like for example, an audio visualizer and a painting program. Okay, so yeah, then you have How Computers Work with Marco Gillies, who's actually our Director of Distance Learning. So we really, we're not holding back. These are our sort of busiest academics, but we've taken weeks and weeks of their time to get them to develop these courses, or months actually. And so Marco is again a fantastic, enthusiastic lecturer, and you'll really enjoy that course. And that's actually a screenshot of one of the videos, so you can see, that we've most of the videos are shot with green screen and in a studio, or so they're sort of very high standard of videos. And yeah, so this is our computational mathematics course. And what we do in our maths course, we also offer some live webinars with faculty, because we find that people like to have that little bit of extra support in maths. But of course, you'll also have your live support at SIM there. So you're going to have a lot of support around the mathematics modules, which my experience is a lot of people worry about the maths in these kind of degrees. And so we've really tried to sort of lead you in gently to the maths, but provide as much support as we can. Yeah, discrete mathematics with Larsen Oibia, and that's that's covering the more symbolic side of mathematics, and similarly to computational mathematics in terms of student support. Web development with Dr. Nick Hine and Sarah Wiseman, Dr. Sarah Wiseman, and this one is all about building client-side websites, and you do some group work in this module as well. Then there's fundamentals with Golnaz, Badkobe, and Golnaz is, I would call Golnaz a sort of hardcore formal computer scientist. So this is where you get really into the guts of what underpins programming, what underpins computation. So we look at Turing machines and formal methods in that module. So then this is the algorithms data structures with Dr. Matti Hoban, he actually works on quantum computing. So but most of these people have a sort of research background as well, so they know sort of the cutting edge of a particular topic. So yeah, Matti's works on quantum computing in his research, but yeah, in this example he's teaching algorithms and data structures. And we have things like interactive simulations of sorting algorithms to get you kind of to understand those more deeply. And yeah, so let me jump back to the level 5 modules now. So yeah, so level 5 is where we get a bit deeper into programming and deeper into algorithms with object-oriented programming. So going back to the languages, actually that's my module, and that one is in C++. So in that module, you will learn the C++ language, which is, if you look up the TOB index of the most popular or most employable languages, you'll find that JavaScript and C++ are both on there. And that's one of the reasons why we've chosen it, but also because it's a fantastic language and lets you get deeper into the guts of the machine and control it at a deeper level. So actually in that module, which you'll see a screenshot in a minute, but in that one, I show you how to build a financial trading platform from scratch in C++. And also we build a music application. We build a DJing application, which is really good fun as well. So yeah, and then we've got a databases and web module where we get into the server side of web programming. So we use Node.js, which again, look at your employability data there, and you'll find Node.js is definitely on there. And then we got programming with data, where we actually learn Python, another one of your top languages, and that really sets you up with the Python for doing some of the machine learning work that you'll see later in the top level. We've got agile software projects where you do a group project with your which will be with your fellow students on campus at SIM. You'll be doing a group project, and where you have to build, write a proposal and build a system. Computer security talks about things like blockchain. So we've got a lot of stuff about Bitcoin and blockchain in there, as well as general cryptography and more wider kind of system protection issues and things like that. And then software design development's more of an engineering type of module, where actually that's my module too, where I teach you all kinds of skills which will help you be a better engineer. So things like unit testing, how to do user testing, accessibility testing of your systems, how to use GitHub, and also sort of thinking about software design. And graphics programming, I shouldn't forget that. That's Theo's module. So let's just scan through these and we can see some of the lecturers in situ, as it were. So there's me in front of, is that an EDVAC? I think there might be an EDVAC too. So talking about C++ and how it definitely wouldn't have run on that machine. That's Theo teaching graphics programming. So that's a really great module. I think that's great fun. Teaches you how to do things like image filtering, animation. I think it covers physics engines as well in there. So there's all kinds of interesting graphics and animation stuff in there. This is Ella's module, Dr. Ella Homanyu Vala. And so I work quite closely with Ella. We supervise some PhD students together and things like that. So this is Ella's sort of server side, what we call back-end web development module. Alejandra, Dr. Alejandra's algorithm data structures too, building on the previous one, and sort of getting into a bit more detail and doing some more hardcore kind of algorithms in that one. They use the C++ language as well. Yes, so computer security, that's where you'll see the wonderful Professor Zimmer talking about blockchain, which is one of his great favorite subjects. So he's actually our head of department. So he appears in that module, as well as myself and Sean, who we'll talk about in a minute. And then that's me on the software design. So it's showing, lots of interactive coding videos and things like that. I mentioned that one, Agile Software Projects with Sean, Dr. Sean McGrath. And Dr. Sean McGrath also teaches the Python module there. And so I'm going to go into level 5 now. I'm not going to flick back to that level 6, which is the final year of your degree. So before we get into it, I'll just say that, you would typically take 6 of these modules, and then you do a project. And so I think these are the ones which are actually launching in April, but there's a further set launching in October, which I will show you screenshots of another time. But these are the ones coming up. So this is the 3D graphics and animation module, taught by Dr. Sylvia Pan and Marco Gillies again. So they're sort of, those two are real sort of VR experts. That's their research area. So that's why they're doing the 3D graphics. So you'll be able to build 3D environments and work with physics engines and things like that, and at a deeper level on that module. Databases and advanced data techniques. This is David Lewis. Dr. David Lewis. He works on semantic web technology. He's a computational musicologist. So he knows about big data sets and all kinds of databases and how data interacts. So that course is looking really fantastic. He even goes outside and shoots outside in his garden, because we're all having to shoot some of these videos in lockdown at home, but we also have studio facilities on campus when available. Okay, so this is the games development module with Dr. Tom Cole. And so this is going to be really good fun, this module, and it teaches you all about Unity and building games and the games industry. Intelligent signal processing, Dr. Francesc Perez. And so this is a very hands-on kind of course where you'll be learning how to do things like audio processing and image processing, but digging a bit deeper than you have done before. And we use a lot of Python and JavaScript in that one to do that. So some real-time stuff and some sort of offline stuff, speech recognition, things like that. Interaction design, Dr. Sarah Wiseman. So this one, yeah, this is for people who want to learn the wider skill set that's necessary to develop really engaging kind of an effective user experiences and user interfaces. So they cover all kinds of techniques, everything from how to run a focus group to how to design a sort of system usability test, and how to analyze interfaces and things like that. Yeah, machine learning and neural networks. This is one of our big modules. So a lot of people take this module, and so we teach TensorFlow. So if you, again, look up your top machine learning libraries list, you'll see TensorFlow is right on there, probably at the top. And that's the library we teach. So and we've got a special TensorFlow environment on the Coursera platform, which allows you to get involved in building neural networks on platform. You can build a deep neural network and learn how that works, which is obviously the latest, greatest technology that everyone's using to solve every kind of problem at the moment. So we teach that in that module. And data science. So this gives you a wider skill set where you're working with. So Tony runs this one. Fantastic speaker, and explains lots of data science concepts, a bit more statistics and a few sort of data analysis techniques in there, which sort of complements maybe the machine learning module and David's Python data module. And yeah, so you can see there Tony doing an interview over Zoom. So he's tried to do case studies with real data scientists and find out how they get set up in their career and things like that. So he's looking at the wider topic of how to become a data scientist as well. Okay, advanced web development. So this is with Dr. Daniel Bucker. Now, this is where we get right into the details of how to do web development on the server side. And so we teach Python, Django library. Again, look at your top 5 Python web development libraries. Django will be on there. And so Daniel Buchan works on big bioscience projects, and builds databases for them. That's his research work. So he knows about big databases of biological data. And so he's bringing that skill set to show you how to build these things for yourself, but not particularly bioscience, but that's one of his examples. But yeah, so that's just showing you that these are the people teaching these things are practitioners in their fields, and they really know their stuff. Okay, so there's a few more level 6 modules which are launching in October. I'm going to jump back to those, and then I'll probably conclude because I'm probably going to run out of time soon. So yeah, so many modules. So think of it as 10 hours of video in every module. I think there's 29 modules in total, which means yeah, we have 290 hours of video that you could potentially experience, which is a lot. So yes, there's lots of content on this degree. Actually, I don't have a list here of the final set of modules, but we have an artificial intelligence module, which I'm going to be working on, and we're going to be doing lots of case studies in AI. We have a physical computing and Internet of Things module, and we have a virtual reality module, and sort of various others, obviously the final project module as well. So that's just a general overview of the modules that we have and what the content is and what you can expect to see when you enroll on the program. So I'm going to stop my screen share at that point. And I'm not sure if there's a sort of question facility or whether you want me to answer any questions at this point, but please let me know.
Right, so I'll take over here. We'll take all the questions and answers. We'll do the Q&A at the end of our session, right? Okay, so great. Let me continue with the sharing. So next, I would like to talk about, how does SIM run the programs? Okay, but before that, I just wanted to say that students out there who are listening in, some of you might be from the junior college, some of you might be from the polytechnic. So we have data here to show you that for the computing programs that we run, we do have junior college students, And from this, you could see, in fact, we could see that for Catholic Junior College, Innova, Pioneer, and Yishun, their students did well and got first class honors. Of course, if you're not from these colleges, but I mean, we will work very hard together with you to make sure that you do well in your exams. Now, what about Polytechnic? We have got all 5 Polytechnic students represented in our computing programs. And you could see here that Temasek Poly do have the largest cohort at SIM, and they got, well, the largest cohort of them got first class honors in our computing programs. Now, for poly students out there, I just want to share that when you join our computer science program, if you have a diploma in that's listed on this slide here, it means that you can enter the computer science program year 2. You can join year 2 immediately. There's no need for you to go through year 1. Now, this other group of students, if you have a diploma that's listed here, you will need to take bridging mathematics at SIM. All right. Now, what's this bridging about? So basically, the bridging courses are in discrete mathematics as well as in numerical mathematics. So our next intake is October for the computer science program. So if you belong to the group where you have a diploma from a polytechnic and you require to do bridging, then you could sign up first for the computer science program, and then we will offer you bridging program starting in July this year. Now, I want to share about the success story of just these 2 students, Amos on the left and Kenneth on the right. So both of them studied at SIM in their year 2 and year 3 respectively. They wanted to go overseas, Goldsmiths, to study, and they were accepted to Goldsmiths. And in fact, for Amos, who's on my left, the guy with the blue color jacket, he continued on to do a PhD at Goldsmiths. Okay, now you might think at the end of the program, what would you get? You'll get a degree awarded by University of London. It would show your name, the college, which is Goldsmiths, University of London, and your classification. So for the University of London programs, the classifications, the topmost would be first class honors, that's the best. And then we have second upper, second lower, or third class. Right? Now, graduations, this is a happy occasion. You get to celebrate it in Singapore as well as in London if you wish to. So, but due to COVID, the London graduations have been postponed. But in Singapore, this April, we are running virtual graduation. So I hope by the time you graduate, it should be back to physical graduations, and you can make a trip to London as well with your friends. And you could see in the picture that the Princess Royal is there. Well, she's the Chancellor of the University of London. She will attend graduations in London. Right, you might think about, you know, after this, what are your prospects? I would say, as I mentioned earlier, computer science is you know, it's very popular now. There's each and every company, they are looking for people. And here is a list of some of the areas that our graduates, you know, have been recruited. Right, so before I move on to talk about student support, let me introduce Pooja. Okay, Pooja is with us here today. She is a current year 1 student on the computer science program. Maybe we can hear from Pooja about, you know, the decisions that went through her mind when choosing a computer science program, when choosing SIM, and also perhaps to share with us her journey at SIM. Pooja, over to you.
Hi, my name is Pooja. So I'm actually from a JC, and I joined the April intake in Sing in 2020. So the reason for me to choose this course was after the COVID period, the job opportunities in this course really opened up. So I thought, you know, getting into the course would be a better choice. And why I chose Bachelor's of Computer Science is I don't really have any prior knowledge on computers because I was from a JC. So I chose this because I get to explore a lot of things like web development, game design, music app, paint app, and things like that. Yeah, so all of my classes were initially held online in a platform called Katura. So the teachers normally go through all the lessons there, and we also can immediately ask questions in the chat box, and the teachers would reply. And even if we had questions throughout the week, they normally give us their emails, and we can email them our questions. So after a few weeks, I actually got to meet some of my classmates when some of the lessons started to be in school. And at that time, it was initially awkward because most of my orientations were held online. But we had like a group project where it kind of gave us like a reason to like mingle with classmates. Yeah. That's it. That's it from my side.
Sorry, I'm back. Right. Hi, everyone. So I'll just continue on here. Let me share screen. I need a screen share. Or Joanne, would you like to screen share and I will talk?
Yes.
Okay, could you go to the student support slide? Yeah, further down. Okay, further up. Okay, right. Maybe resources. Yes, right. So thank you, Pooja. I missed out the last bit, but I somehow was kicked out. Sorry for that. So, you know, for students like Pooja, when they come to SIM for a course, so what kind of support do we give them? So indeed, we do have resources for them, whether soft copy or hard copy resources. You could see from here that there's the library, SIM library, UOL library. We also have Coursera, like what Dr. Matthew Eking mentioned earlier. So there is a lot of resources for students as they study the program. Next. What about the faculty? So for faculty wise, we have near to 100 lecturers who are on the program, providing different subject level to our students. So you could also see from the screen that actually we do have students, we do have lecturers that teach more than 30 years at SIM. So we do have lecturers who are really very familiar with the syllabus. Next. Right, okay, we are talking about visits. So you could see Dr. Matthew Eking's photo there. So every other year, actually, Matthew will visit SIM. Just that last year, this year, he couldn't visit us. But we do have faculty visiting us, conducting workshops for students, giving masterclass talks to our students, and even people in the industry. We do have visits from UOL, and we are, you know, especially during graduation time, we would have lots of visitors, and they would come to SIM, and especially for graduation, they'll share in the joy of your graduations, and at the same time we would have lots of talks, for students and industry. So next, Joanne. Right, we have come to almost the end of the session before we take on the questions. If you are A-level students, as long as you have 2 A-level passes and 3 O-level pass, you can join the program. Definitely, we need you to have a pass in English, and for mathematics, it needs to be B4. For polytechnic students or even IB students, SIM diploma or IFP students, we welcome students of different qualifications to put in your application for our program. And then you need to be at least 17 years of age. Joanne, next. Right, now, for some of you, you have already decided you want to join a computer science program. So because our next intake is in October, we suggest that you go, maybe you can take a photo of what's shown on screen here. This is a Coursera program offered by University of London. These are 2 programs. We suggest you could go online, go through this program to prepare yourself for the actual computer science program. Now, for some of you students, like for Pooja, she was a hybrid A-level student. She did science. She also did some art subject, and she didn't quite know whether her interest is in computer or in other areas. So during this period, we suggest you can go online, Coursera as well, and exactly this program. You can go in, attempt to go through the program and see whether you like it, whether you have the aptitude for the program. So this is your homework, right? Okay, next, Joanne. Okay, it's about course fees. So for the computer science program, the total estimate is about 38,000 Sing dollars, but actually it doesn't mean you pay a lump sum for the program. You pay on a yearly basis, and within a year there are different payment periods. For example, you'll pay to SIM an amount, and then you'll pay to University of London in pounds. Okay, so the fee-wise average is 38,000, but divide by 3-year program, so it's about 13,000 in a year. And Joanne? Maybe we missed a slide, Joanne. Yeah, okay. Our next intake is in October, so there's time for you to apply. Yeah, there's time for you to apply. So the first closing is 1st April. So if we wish to apply, especially to get a confirmation of your of a seat for the computer science program, we encourage you to apply soon. Right, so we have come to the end of the sessions, and I will take some questions right now. For Matthew, are you able to see? I thought earlier there was a question. Is it in the chat?
I've just seen the question. Yeah. Should I take that one?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So the question is, it's really voicing a concern that it might be that because the university's from London, and then it's being taught a long way away, that in a different institution. Is there a concern there's a concern there that maybe the content would be watered down by the local lecturer? And well, I'm pretty sure that if we look at the results that we've seen earlier for SIM students on these programs, that there's no watering down going on. I'm completely confident about that. And the fact is, the assessments, which are the ones which lead to your final grade, are set by the University of London. So if there's a mismatch between the local teaching and that assessment, then the grades would show it. And frankly, look at the grades; they don't show that. So I don't see that as a problem at all from what I'm seeing here. And then secondly, there's another question, which is, it might be quite difficult to deliver somebody else's course effectively, if you like. And again, I'll sort of lean on the grades a bit here and say clearly the colleagues at SIM are fantastic at delivering course designs developed in other institutions as well as locally, and so there's a great teaching team there who are used to doing this. They know how to do it, and I'll also say that actually on campus we teach very similar materials. And so we use some of the course designs from BSc CS for our on-campus teaching. And actually, it's having a highly detailed structure for a course in place already, which integrates with the other courses, is an advantage. It's not a disadvantage when you're trying to teach that course. So yeah, I'll say those two things in response to those two concerns, if you like.
Thank you, Matthew. Right. For the audience there, do you have any other questions? So Matthew, my colleagues will cut and paste the questions onto the Zoom chat.
Okay, I'll keep an eye there.
Or meanwhile, while waiting for questions, oh, there's a question. May I know?
Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay.
So the question is, may I know if the UOL BSc Computer Science is accredited in Singapore? So I might let you guys take that one. If that's okay.
Okay. Basically, for all programs that are run in Singapore, we have to register with MOE, CPE, Council, Committee for the Private Education. So if in that sense, we have to register and it has to be approved by CPE. At the same time, every 2 years, there will be audit on our programs. I hope that answers the question. And of course, if you're thinking about government sectors recognizing the University of London program, yes, we have students who have successfully entered civil service or state boards, and of course the private sector. As you could see, 93.7% or so of our last batch of students who graduated from computing, they managed to get a job in 6 months. We welcome more questions.
Fantastic, Denise. I'm going to encourage people to, if you've got any questions about the technology that you'll learn in the course, I think that that's one of the big features of the course is the selection of technologies which we're delivering through this course, which are very aligned with what we would consider very employable, cutting sort of current trend technologies. So do please ask if which languages we're using, which libraries, all that stuff that people are interested in.
Perhaps Matthew, you can share with us while waiting for questions to come in. Share with us like how do the graduates do? Back in London, where have they gone to in the industries, and what are employers telling you about Goldsmiths graduates?
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, so I mean, I'll say obviously on the sort of BSc CS launched in April 2019. So our first set of graduates will be in March 2022. So we don't have any actual graduates on this particular program yet, but certainly on campus. So on our degrees, the feedback I hear from employers and the kind of things I see some of our graduates doing. So they seem to, I think employers appreciate the fact that we've encouraged students to try and figure out which is the best technology to use in a given context, and to not be afraid to go and learn a new technology. And that's one thing we really encourage is that confidence to sort of critically evaluate technology and to say, okay, that's your problem, right? Then you need this particular technology, and I'm going to go and because you learn so many different libraries and languages and things on the course. By the end of the course, you're in a really good position to be a quick learner, as it were, and be prepared. You know what the process is of picking up a new language or picking up a new library and figuring out how to use it. And actually, because in computer science and computing careers, the technology is changing all the time. So if you just learn one technology and then that's the one and you don't want to learn any new ones, you're just not going to be very employable, frankly. And well, okay, we get some specialists who are still programming COBOL on databases since the 1960s or whatever, but typically, you know, the expectation is that you will be prepared to pick up whichever technology the company is using, learn it quickly, and use it correctly. And so you'll find that by doing this degree, you'll be doing that. That's exactly what you'll be doing in every module.
Matthew, I understand that, you know, some of the language that's being used includes JavaScript, C++, anything else that
exactly, JavaScript, C++. So JavaScript is the language that we teach at the beginning of the degree, but you continue using it as you work through the degree. We always go back to it. C++ we introduce in level 5, and obviously that's sort of a more hardcore language in a sense that it's syntactically more challenging, but it also gives you more control over the machine. Then we also introduced Python at level 5, and that's the kind of pretty much one of the industry standard languages for doing data science, machine learning work. So that's we teach you that, and then before you go into the final level and use it for building neural networks and things like that. We also do a bit of C#, because if you choose to do the games modules, then that you will be learning the C# language, because we work in the Unity environment, which is based around that language. So yeah, so that's the one other language. Then of course you got the sort of web kind of language, HTML, CSS.
One last question for you, Matthew. Earlier you mentioned about libraries. Maybe you can give us an idea, what does it mean, libraries? What are the functions? Why do we need libraries in the computer science?
Yeah, so so library can mean lots of things, right? So when we talk about libraries in computing, so most software, imagine if you had to build every piece of software completely from scratch every time, it would be, nobody would ever manage to finish anything. Okay, so that's the problem. And so that's where libraries come in. So libraries, a bit like in the same way that you know, a library full of books is a set of knowledge which you can build on top of, right? So you don't have to invent all the stuff in those books every time you want to do anything. So it's very similar, except it's a library of software, software components. And the idea is that you'd get those software components and you build on top of them. So it allows you to more rapidly develop applications. So for example, you might have a library that makes it really easy to do graphics. Okay, so rather than having to program right at the lowest possible level how to get, you know, switch one of the pixels on the screen on and off, you use a library that lets you chuck a, you know, a colored box on the screen straight away and move it around with a couple of lines of code. So it's all about accelerating your development process.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Right, we have almost come to the end of the session. I see in the chat box that we have a student saying that he or she doesn't have O level. Not to worry, if that means you are a true trained student, that means you have A levels, or like you are an IB student, you didn't go through O level, no worries. Just check with our SIM colleagues. You can go to the you know, our online booth, and you could send us your details. We would be able to assess, right? Yeah. Any other questions from the floor before we end the session? Okay, looks like it's all good. Right, so thank you, Matthew, all the way from London, and it's about 7 a.m. there now.
Yeah, I'm almost awake now.
Right, okay, thank you for, you know, thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope you had a good session with us. If there are more questions, we are happy to take your questions at our online booth. Right, see you all again. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.